Bonjour les amis, guys. It is that panda guy, and I'm here again with another video. And if you guys are wondering why I just spoke in French, because someone asked me to do it, and you know what? I bet I scuffed that mess up. But you know what? We're gonna all hope that you guys are sensitive to me in the comments, and you guys did not bully me. But let's get into this. I hope you guys enjoyed my freaking weird intro. I don't know why I just did that, but yeah. Basically Samir was getting smacked up, and we're gonna be going through the whole G1 bracket in this video. I do have multiple videos after this, and I did miss out on a lot of footage because I was fighting myself as well as I slept. And by the time I woke up, they were kind of connected, so you guys are going to kind of see that. But I first want to start off by mentioning that Sammy had Peterson and Edward, and there are really like big cons to this, right? So you guys are going to see the report here shortly, but he got a lot more deaths than he should have. One, I do want to mention that if you're, big like this, you were likely to have your hospital kind of. Okay, I also want to mention that this dude told me, he messaged me and said that he forgot to heal his hospital, which was just disgusting to hear. He forgot to heal it before the rally hit. But either way, the losses he took were kind of like honestly, in this case, I think it worked better because his heal ability basically puts more troops on the field, meaning that in general he's taking like better trades because he has more troops in his base, but also he's kind of filling his hospital with even more troops than he would have before. And the thing is, like, in this case, I think it was all right. And even if these guys rallied him for 15 minutes, like let's say considering he had fresh battle fury or whatever, he would have been able to shield. But the point is, generally, like, the heal ability can be a counter, kind of double-edged sword because it can fill your hospital more. But in his case, it wasn't so bad. If he had maybe swapped out Edward, that would have gone way better for him. And yeah, I mean, like, this dude honestly should have used probably anybody but Edward. I feel like the thing is, like, Edward isn't bad early game, I guess, but like late game, when you're like a whale like this, he definitely had better heroes, and this dude wasn't swapping. Also, you guys are seeing our RPG dude taking a double rally from D&T, now I guess DBN, as well as Boone, which was kind of disgusting. This dude was online, and honestly, I was watching for a while where this dude was fighting outside his base, and I think, like, honestly, I think it was HK running over to him, but HK was just sitting in March by March and letting them get swarmed down, and it was really bad. It was really hard to watch. But this is where I kind of explained where, I was offline for a while, so I kind of explained what happened, what the matchup was, and kind of what led up to this. So, naturally in Boone's last bracket, they were fighting against RPG, HNT, which is now, I think, HBN, as well as ANCS. And, of course, there were other alliances there, though they had less of an impact. Not to, like, take away from those alliances, but, obviously these whale alliances have way more of an impact. This bracket, ANCS wasn't in the bracket. ANCS was in, G2 with actually NWO, which was Boone's ally in their last island. But luckily, they still did have DBN in this bracket. So either way, it was more like a 2v2 going in. And, there were other alliances, two ANCS alternate alliances. And honestly, like, you knew off the bat that these two alliances would have no impact. And that's not to say they're weak, but in general, they didn't have any core players that could stand up to Boone players. They would have gotten really just like railed out of towers, right? Like, there was no chance for them to defend anything. Even if they tried to fight in the field, they would have been easy kills, and it just wasn't looking good. And there were two other alliances. One was, I think, Seoul from our Region 3, and RPG, of course, like, could have relied on them maybe, but there wasn't much I think they really could have done. Like, they aren't powerhouses like these alliances. And then there was also another alliance from Region 4, which I forget what the name is, and, like, no offense to them, I think they changed it from an old name, so I don't remember. But basically they were easily able to just kind of keep Seoul in their spot. And I guess Seoul just didn't want to move out, which was probably on the better, smarter end of them, because why would they want to get involved with this? But you guys kind of see here, basically, like, the point is, it was mostly a 2v2 where DBN was able to kind of mostly hold off RPG for the most case, where Boone was able to more so 1v1 against kind of HBN and not have to be dealt with combating two alliances at once, which made their job that much easier. Of course, it still wasn't easy because I will say HBN put up an insane fight. They were keeping these garrisons full. I also want to mention that, that tower didn't, like, actually get beat right there. It was actually already burning, so it ran out of time and just dropped. But honestly, that swarm was really bad. They were taking bad trades. And, in most of these rallies that Boone is going to be launching, they were taking bad trades. And it was really, really unfortunate. But I will say HBN when considering them. I feel like they're like mostly they're three whales. I know Hands, Envy, and there was someone else. I mean, of course, there are definitely other whales there that were holding on to towers, but like either way, these were definitely the main whales. You know, they had the best gear, and they were just freaking monsters. And Boone was just trying to take down these towers, exhausting the enemy. And honestly, like HBN was holding on like to dear life. I was so surprised when I went to sleep. I woke up and these guys were still outside this level 7 outpost. They were definitely there for a while. And what Boone did was, you know, a pretty classic strategy. And of course, this could work, like, this could really backfire if your alliance doesn't have enough troops or garrison captains to spread throughout. But I will say Boone is in a really good spot because so let me kind of explain what they did. So they built along HBN towers, and what it does is it kind of forces them to defend as many towers as possible. And in the beginning, where you saw that one tower burning, this basically unlinked all these towers, you know, in front of it. And honestly, what HBN should have done was they should have abandoned one of the towers up here. If someone got zeroed on one of those towers, so be it. It had to be done. But they ended up getting a lot more people zeroed because they were defending, you know, other towers over one that was kind of attached to the rest of these. So like all those towers basically became irrelevant the second that, you know, that tower dropped, right? Like all those towers had no impact. They became ineffective, and you know, people just started burning. And like I was saying, you know, Boone has a way more balanced team, so they were definitely able to spread, like if they were, you know, to spread into as many garrisons as possible and have as many garrison like captains as possible, they would be able to do that compared to, you know, HBN, where I don't try to say this to make them sound weak, but of course they have less of, I wouldn't say a whale base. It's more of just like, you know, Boone 1 does have a lot more time in this game. So, of course, a lot more of their players are just bigger in general, have a lot more troops, and are able to fill out these towers, as well as the fact that they do, I think, have just more whales in general to spread out throughout these towers. So, they are able to maintain, you know, presence in every single tower going through, whereas HBN, they might be able to, you know, keep every tower that they're connecting to full, but having, you know, proper garrison captains in every single one of them just becomes like an impossible task. And eventually people burn out, people have to go to sleep, people have to get offline. And you know, eventually these guys ended up getting smacked out of this outpost. And I will say they did an insane build around on the last day. I didn't expect, kind of connecting to an outpost in the top right of the map and trying to build up towards Boone's other level 7 outpost that they took over. Of course, they didn't manage to take it, but it was a pretty impressive build out. Like I had woken up and I was like, God damn. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking a lot, guys, but yeah, this is also freaking Louis. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, and I'm not even gonna try to do it. I'm just gonna call him Capt. But Capt was getting his base swarmed down. Freaking mad lad, like, dude, Envy was throwing troops away this event. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen these reports. I don't know if you guys saw that first report, like in the whole video, and then you see this report. This dude lost. I don't even know how many troops he lost, but I looked at his stats, and bro has 15 million dead, and you can assume a majority of those are tier 6. And you know, of course he probably got returns from Island, but you know, when you have 15 million dead, you have 15 million dead, and that's still insane. Those are just mad numbers. Like I can't, dude. Like, man, and you got to consider most of those are tier 6 too. Like, come on, bro. Like, this dude has been, he would swarm any base, he would swarm any tower. He did not care about his losses. I saw him tanking AoE like nothing, you know, like he was just tanking some Lewis AoE from a tower, like just walking around the tower with zero care in the world. It was just, it's a nice watch, right? But at the same time, you feel so much pain just watching him like and not care about all those troops. But yeah, that was freaking Capped getting swarmed, and it was nasty. I will say RPG kind of got like really overwhelmed in the island, and it was kind of rough. But I mean, what could they do? They didn't. I don't think they like had the same presence as DBN. Like they're a much older alliance. They don't have the same amount of presence. They don't have the same amount of just people to, you know, kind of keep these things full. I also want to mention here, you guys are going to see this dude get swarmed. And I will say that although he has like Captain Russell in and stuff, these guys were taking, I think bad trades because he just had, wait, never mind. This is the wrong person. I'm actually like really stupid, guys. Ignore what I just said. It's like another dude in this video. But someone gets swarmed, and you know, he was a pretty chunky guy. So the fact that the guy who got swarmed does get swarmed, it was just really hard to watch because like, even after the first rally, you know, like there's like a size. I feel like there's a size criteria to, if like, you know, the dude's first rally beats him, then you can swarm. But if, you know, like for example, a dude's 100 million and you hit him with a rally, and you know he drops maybe 10 million, he's still 90 million. Don't just swarm that because he dropped 10 million, right? Like that's crazy. And some people end up just throwing their troops away in some of these cases. And you know, I feel like a lot of people just like get the kind of mindset that, oh yeah, I can swarm this dude now because he freaking got burnt or something. Oh yeah, it's Sanders right here. So I will say that a lot of these RPG players were using Russell, which was insane to me. I don't know, like I don't know if like the region's just been really peaceful, so they just like don't think about that. But dude, like using Russell, and I will say, even though this dude's using Russell, he still takes good trades, of course, because he's a freaking whale. His research is really good and everything. And, you know, not in that rally, of course, he didn't take good trades, but in this next, like in the secondary swarm right here, he's going to be taking some like really good trades because, I mean, he's still pretty big. And compared to most of these players, you know, they got nothing on him. You see this? Like, I think they're losing like, I don't know. I'll give an example. Maybe like when he loses 1,000 troops, they were losing 4 to 5,000 troops. Like they do not need to be super inefficient in their losses, right? Like there's zero reason for them to do it. I get they might be like kill hungry or resource hungry, but man, it is not worth the deaths. Save those troops for towers. Save them for anything. I would not be throwing it. I would not be throwing them there right now. And you guys kind of see it in the chat. I'm like, they shouldn't swarm yet. Like this really hurt me to watch. And honestly, I mean, I feel like there's like a kind of pile-on effect, like where like one person starts the swarm, everybody else feels like, dang, now I gotta get in, right? And then you start all taking really bad losses, and you're like, damn, why did I do that? Like, look at these reports. This was disgusting. You know, it does happen. But yeah, I mean, try not to be the one who starts the pile-on effect, or even be someone who jumps in the pile-on effect. Like if someone loses all their troops, freaking swarming someone, I'm just gonna be laughing on the sidelines and say, yo, that's on you. I did not tell you to join me. And it actually has happened on towers where I would try to actually go and solo swarm towers, and I didn't want people to follow me because I knew I was much stronger, right? And you know, whereas like I know I would take good trades on a tower swarm, I knew my members weren't going to take good trades, and that kind of canceled out like what I would do, right? Like I was trying to take good trades, you know, pick off their troops, but if you're just losing all your troops, you're getting, you know, you're kind of losing any effect that my swarm had. Like you're just evening out the trade ratio, right? Like it's really rough sometimes. I will say, you know, I will have another video I post of this like kind of battle, just that it's kind of wild, but I'll post another video where these guys are just going ham on towers and stuff and whatnot. But I mean, this is just the first video of maybe like 2 or 3 again, because I mean, I had quite a good amount of footage. I did miss a lot, like I said. I was, you know, sleeping a lot. I was fighting myself, so I didn't have as much time to record, but I did try to record as much as possible, so I did have content for you guys, because I know you guys do enjoy watching this stuff, and it's just pretty interesting to see these whale alliances brawl out. Like, dude, I was watching Envy's kills, and it was insane watching how many like tier 6 kills at that he got. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the garrison captain pulled out. That is one of the worst mistakes you can make. He either pulled out or someone swapped it to a bad garrison captain, because you guys will see the trades right there are horrific. But you know, you do not pull out your main march as a garrison captain, especially if, you know, the counter, like the rest of your, like your alliance are gonna like aren't fit to, you know, take good trades. Like you see this dude, oh, that's like 5,000. Like for every 5,000 these guys are losing, they're killing like 500 or 400 troops. Like that is nasty, man. And that hurts my soul to watch. But honestly, and I will say, like, hands in them went insane. Envying them, they were freaking beasts during this. They were never off the field. And props to them, you know, props to Boone, props to DNT or DBN. And, you know, even props to RPG. I know they, like, kind of were fighting at a loss, but it does happen. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I do appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. And peace out.